Hello. Today we're going to be looking at television studios in the 1950s. Many things changed in people's lives in the 50s, but if one thing stands out as defining the age more than any other, it is the coming of television.
So, before we look at studios, I will give you some context behind television in general. Television broadcasting in the UK started before the war. The television service broadcast by the BBC was officially inaugurated on the 2nd of November 1936. Television was broadcast up to the outbreak of World War II and was resumed subsequently in June 1946. In the early years of television, there was only one channel, the BBC. At the beginning of the decade, television was a luxury item, and only 350,000 households had a television set. By 1960, nearly 3/4 of the population had television. One of the most watched events on television in the early 50s was the Queen's coronation in 1953. Most people did not have a television set, therefore crowds of people would gather in one household to celebrate the occasion. It is often said that the coronation really sparked off people's interest in television. Alexandra Palace was built in 1875 as a palace of entertainment for the people. The BBC took over the north wing of the building in 1936 and created two television studios, A and B. Studio A began broadcasting with the Marconi EMI system and in B the Baird system. Alexandra Palace was the first television studio in the world to have a regular broadcast. I decided to hop on the train and go and have a look at Alexandra Palace for myself, so here are a few pictures that I took. In 1954, the BBC transferred from Alexandra Palace to Lime Grove Studios, which was originally built for the use of film production between 1914 and 1933. Here is a picture of what it would have looked like during those days. As you can see, the structure is mostly glass, and this is due to the large amounts of light that would have been required to operate with the older cameras. When the BBC moved there in 1954, this was only supposed to be a temporary measure while their new television centre at White City was being built. However, they remained at Lime Grove Studios for 42 years. Also on the site was the BBC Puppet Theatre, a large tin shed where plays for children were rehearsed and then transferred into studios where they were transmitted live. Some of the most notable broadcasts consisted of Bill and Ben, Andy Pandy, Ragtag and Bobtail and Blue Peter.
So there we are, a brief overview of television studios in the 1950s. I hope you have found this informative. Thank you and good night.